toxic.
Oh my god. That's sad but true.
Sad but true.
Oh my god, that's sad but true.
He's an asshole.
All right, hello everyone. So this is sad
hello.
but true, and this is Laurie. I'm your host. Krista's out today, but we have two guests. We have Nick and Brad. Say hello, guys.
How you doing, everybody?
Yes, how are you doing?
So I just want to ask some questions, and then I'm just gonna let you guys roll with what we have. So, what do you guys find most attractive about women whenever you're searching for that lifelong partner? And I'm talking about long relationship, not just a one night stand floozy, you know.
They have to be sexually attractive and physically attractive, and then personality.
Personality.
Ass.
Ass.
Yeah.
Tits and ass.
Yeah, ass.
So when I was single and looking, so it took me a while to like kind of I can't even figure out like the whole online dating. So online dating for me was like a disaster because anyone I found online turned out to be weird or a psychopath or just odd.
Well, as women, you guys have, at least you have like a bigger pool to pick from, right? So like
Yeah.
as dudes, like we could start a dating profile and we might get a handful of messages in a week.
Yeah.
You know, you guys start a dating profile and you're inundated with messages.
yes,
You have
and-
absolutely...
Well, there's
you're
pros
like,
and cons for both, though, on both sides.
That's true.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
we do have like a lot to choose from, but at the same time, it's
like 90% dick pics or something?
yes,
But,
dude,
yeah.
it's so degrading to me. I just felt like it was just a piece of meat, like being dangled in front of a bunch of starving dogs, you know? And there was no like courtship. It was just like, most of them were just looking for that one night stand or, you know, just send me nudes like right away. Like there's no genuine.
I could absolutely see that, but it's one of those things where because like the whole dynamic of women and men relationships these days is like because women are looking for a very specific set of he's got to be 6 foot tall, he's got to
Yeah.
make 100,000 or whatever, and he's got to be this. Men are just sort of giving up. So like it causes
agree.
men to be sort of like lazy and just be like, hey,
Just
send me news.
trying
Let's
to
fuck.
get
You know,
like
stupid
as
shit.
many girls as they can
Yeah,
reach
men are
out to.
Casting the widest net
Yes.
to try to
Yeah.
get a handful of messages.
We're starting to
Oh, yeah.
wear high heels to get taller, to be 6 feet.
For real. You got to get like platform tennis shoes. No, I understand that because I'm tall as fuck. Like finding like Nick, me and Nick were together. We have a son together. We weren't friends for, after we broke up for a while, but now we're good friends and we co-parent, we're good at it. So, but when we dated, he's only like 5'8". And I'm like 5'10". So, but I didn't care. Like, his personality outweighed his height to me.
Yeah, he really looked up to you.
He did.
And you know what? I was like thinking, she's gonna make me the perfect genetic specimen. Like my son's gonna
And I
be
did.
6 foot. Yeah, no, he's
Except for
already,
he's a,
yeah, he's a little rambunctious. But you know what?
Now he looks up to his son.
Yeah, exactly. He's gonna like by the
Soon.
time he's 14, he's gonna be towering over me, and
he's
I
like,
love that.
he's like, Mom, did Dad eat his broccoli? And I was like, no, and that's why he's
Absolutely
short.
not. Clearly, he didn't. Look at him. Look,
So he eats lots of broccoli.
good.
Right?
I love it.
But no, I definitely understand that because with Krista, like she's, sometimes she's on dating apps or whatever, and if a guy's less than 5'10", she doesn't even talk to him.
And see,
And
that's totally like. Look how tall she is.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's why she does it though. It's because
So why do women want a taller guy? And
Because
that's like
it
their
makes
first
them
thing
feel
that,
small. Like women want to
Yeah.
be small. Women want to be like petite. They want to be like,
Well, it doesn't matter.
It's
Like, it doesn't matter how
evolutionary
tall they are.
biology.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
cavemen, they wanted a big, strong caveman that could fight off
Exactly.
predators
Yeah.
and protect the family,
That
protect
too.
the kids.
Yeah, cave
That too.
woman, but cave men want like girls with big waists to hold the baby.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's
They want
true.
big, nice
They want
ass.
load-bearing hips, right? So
Right.
to, you know.
So, but
But it
they,
doesn't matter when they're tall because when their legs are up in the air, I mean,
they're all the same height when they're laying down. No, so I guess it is genetics, just because women want to have a man that's, you know, healthy, strong, big, muscle, you know, take care of stuff. And so it does make sense, but at the same time, it limits your availability, you know?
well,
Sure.
those guys that are over 6 feet, they know they have their pickings, and so
Yeah.
do they use that, you know, to their advantage?
Yeah,
Sure,
I don't-
because
I don't
it's
know.
getting to the point now where like 90% of women are looking for the top 10% of men.
Right.
So it's like the 10% of men have their pick, but the other 90% are invisible to women.
exactly.
You know? And
a lot of those women don't deserve that, you know, 10% of
Absolutely.
men that are, you know, top
absolutely.
tier.
Absolutely.
So they should
So
lower their
guys-
standards a little bit.
So guys that are over 6 feet making that much money, they're like women. They have their
Yeah.
they're like a pool
They-
of women, and they can choose from, and so they feel like, you know,
But those 10% don't ever want to settle down because why would they? They can
Exactly.
just sleep with whoever they want.
like women.
And do you guys ever see that as like a bad thing? Like not settling down, not ever being married or not, you know, because what if, do you worry about being single when you're old?
Not really. Like, sort of. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, a little
Or
bit.
being lonely?
So the best quote I ever heard was that women or men are hopeless romantics disguised as realists, and
Mm-hmm.
women are realists disguised as hopeless romantics.
Absolutely.
So I think every guy wants to find that one girl that can be his queen. It's only his, and
Yeah.
and she's gonna be like his best friend and everything, and
Right.
you know, and all that.
loyal.
But like because of evolutionary biology, men were disposable. They would go to war, they would die, they would do this and
Yeah.
that. So women had to be able to move on real quick. So
Right.
they couldn't just be like, well, I guess me and my kids are going to starve now, you know. They had to just be able
Exactly.
to move on.
Well,
and pick
but
somebody else.
now women are more sustainable on their own. They're more independent. They're able to have jobs that can pay for things like men used to back in the day. So now they shouldn't look at it as, well, I have to be prepared for him to be gone or, you know, to go to war and die. Or
Well,
Sure.
when it comes
Yeah.
down to it, it's all like chemistry. I mean,
It is,
You have to.
it
This
is.
social construct has to be just. You can't think of that stuff.
exactly.
When you meet someone with that chemistry and that feeling, that energy, like you have to know
Exactly.
yourself. It comes from internal first.
Exactly.
And as
Yeah.
far as that stuff you're talking about, society is pushing women to be more masculine.
Exactly.
I'm a bad bitch. I don't need no man and all this stuff.
And
it's
it
like,
shouldn't be that way. I think personally, just because I believe that no matter what, women will always need men. No matter what, to complete, for one, reproduction, you know, because we can't reproduce on our own, not yet anyway. That'd be weird to me. But I just think that men are, you know, genetically made different in order to sustain things that women are not able to sustain, and then vice versa. So there's some things that women are able to sustain more than men, like childbearing, you know? So
this whole idea of men and women being equal is just so destructive. Anything,
It's asinine.
it's just it's ridiculous. So men are naturally predisposed to be a certain way. Women are naturally predisposed to be a certain way.
Correct.
And like the differences is what makes us good. You know.
exactly. Or your morals, how you were raised, like
Sure,
what you were
sure.
grown up to know and to see. Because for me, like I just saw my parents, I thought they had a pretty decent relationship. You know, it was kind of hectic sometimes, you know, and we didn't do much because there were so many of us kids. There were 5 of us kids, and then my mom and dad, and they literally worked 2 jobs at a time. Both of them did, just to take care of all of us. So what time I did see them have together was always good, you know. They had their fights, but I also saw the romanticism and, you know, how my dad would never talk down on my mom or anything like that. I never, you know, saw him do that. So that gave me a lot of respect for him. And then what I wanted to look for when I was an adult, you know,
But key word is respect.
respect. Absolutely. And then also seeing like how your parents react to each other is something that you're going to be an adult and use, whenever you try to find that partner, that person that you're
Sure.
wanting to be with.
I think women will naturally look for someone that is like their dad or whatever, or like their
Yeah.
the male role
Regardless
model
if they're
they
good
have.
or bad, which is not a good thing because a lot of these men out here are treating their women like shit, and their children are seeing that. Their daughters are seeing that, and they're going to be like, oh, well, it's okay for a guy to smack you around a little bit because my dad did it. Like they don't think about how their kids are affected and their daughters are affected and what they're going to have to deal with when they're older.
Yeah, but women are naturally submissive. That's what,
Naturally, yes.
and men like that, and women in a way like that as well.
Yes.
So
I think my mom asks to get her ass kicked once in a while. Please, someone try
Right.
it.
but if a man is too submissive and a woman is too masculine,
Exactly.
the relationship is going to fall apart.
Oh yeah,
It's not going to
because
last.
the women's gonna see the man as a bitch. They're gonna sit there and be like, "Oh, you're just a bitch." We've seen that. We've seen, where the man was just way too, overbearing and controlling to where the
Yeah.
woman
Oh, there
can't
has to
even
be
be
a healthy
submissive.
medium.
Yeah, that
for sure.
comes from insecurities,
Oh,
like I
yeah.
said, internal and
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there definitely has to be a balance between the two. Like sometimes, there has to be points where the man is allowed to be weak, in front of his person that he's with, because how is he going to have that comfort? He's going to be searching for someone else to talk to or be like, have that weakness with.
yeah, that goes for everybody.
And then, the woman has to show some strongness, sometimes where the man can't be. So,
I like
I
that. You
I
said
think
that.
it should
Yeah.
be like that way.
Yeah.
Men should be able to show vulnerability to
Exactly.
their wife.
yes.
But it's one of those things. Like just women
Having trust.
innately, if they see that, it's kind of like it. They don't even know it. It's subconscious, but it just turns them off a little bit. And I think they will begin to lose respect for the man. And then maybe they start acting out a little bit more, and then going out more,
Well,
and something happens where
I think that's where the balance needs to be, where you have enough respect for the man that you're with that you're not going to use that against him later or try to degrade him or make him feel any less of a person just because
sure,
of
that's
that.
how it should be.
Like,
should be,
yeah,
yes.
once in a while when you're down, you need
Yeah.
a friend.
Yeah.
And that should be your friend, right?
A man needs a woman to build him up and,
Yeah.
and help push him forward if he starts.
Well, just think about it like as a percentage, like you always want to have your couple or your family at 100%, right?
Sure.
So if somebody's slacking, at 70% because of anything, having anxiety, having, where you're just not at 100%. Because you're not going to be at 100% all the time.
No, nobody is.
Physical,
So
financial,
your partner or whoever needs to make up that other percentage to keep it going, keep your family at 100%
That's
or
what it's
keep
all
your
about.
relationship at 100%.
Sure,
Exactly.
everything's a give and a take in a relationship, but
Exactly.
sometimes that's just not how it actually works, though, because,
Right.
like I said, women, when they see a man become a little weak, just naturally, I think, like I said, subconsciously, they don't even realize that they do it,
Right.
but maybe they just lose a little respect, and then things the dynamic starts to change,
Exactly.
But that's why men have to always sort of be on their game as best they
Yeah.
can, and then
Right.
the woman should be willing to give a little if the man starts.
Well, it comes
slipping a
down
little
to,
bit.
not abusing that too, like,
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
that use each other as a
100%
crutch. Yeah.
from insecurities.
Yeah.
So if you have insecurities and you're showing those insecurities and you're not, redeeming yourself or like trying to show that you're working on yourself on those, yeah, of course you're going to see that weakness and she's going to get turned off by that, I think.
Right.
But I think a lot has to do with if you have a weakness about something, I don't think you should be insecure about it. I think you should be, very confident about that.
Well, that person should help you with your
Exactly.
weakness and help you with
And
your,
if they don't,
straightening.
they're not the right person for
Right.
you because they don't care about you. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about your growth. So that's a huge thing is like building each other up and like being there.
Like I always said, it's friends first. When you meet someone, you have to have that friendship, that bond first.
Yeah,
You have to
of
trust that
course.
person as a friend first
And you
before
have to
they're
be
even
able to
lovers,
communicate.
really. Yeah,
Communication is huge.
But what if they can't help it, though? Like, what if the woman can't help that she... Like I said, it's very subconscious. So,
Right.
I mean, I I'm hearing what you guys are saying. I agree with you. I think it should be that way.
Yeah.
But I just think that sometimes that's just not how.
Well, maybe the woman has insecurities of her own, and that's why.
I mean, everybody has insecurities.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody.
But I mean, like, maybe she's insecure about something about that because of, like, past trauma or,
Right.
you know, whatever.
That comes down to communication. Too.
Yeah, exactly.
And knowing the other person.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, based off of your guys' experience, like, do you think that most women are just, like, they just brush off men that have any vulnerability or...
I personally really don't think that.
And I'm on the other side.
My
of the
mother
fence. I
always
think I
said
do.
confidence is key for men. You have to be
Right.
confident no matter what.
Well-
But hey, I'm a crier. You know, I have some insecurities and weaknesses. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but I'm also like you said about redeeming yourself and like
Mm-hmm.
you know,
And showing
take
that
care
you
of-
can
yeah.
still be, like, strong-willed and,
Right.
you know, still have those
believe in
confident-
yourself.
Yeah,
So if you don't believe in yourself, who's gonna believe in you?
exactly.
Right? Believe in your spouse. Like you have to.
Yeah, you
have that
shouldn't marry
moment.
someone that doesn't believe in you or doesn't,
No.
you know.
Have that moment and move
Yeah.
on. Wipe your tears off.
Right.
You know, brush your
Yeah.
shoulder off, and
Yeah.
you know, have that person.
And build that person up, not just, you know, make
Right.
fun of them or take advantage of them.
Oh, definitely
Absolutely.
make fun of them. You definitely have to kick them when they're down.
Oh,
and then,
absolutely.
And then pick them up. You know,
You
this-
gotta
yeah,
have some
exactly.
laughter and, like,
Right.
you know, joking stuff, but
Like, look at you kicking your own ass. Let me in on that.
That- yeah.
Kick 'em.
right,
what
kick
keeps
them while
it-
they're down. Kick them while they're down.
Like, while you're
But-
at it, I'll kick you too.
I mean, obviously, Nick, you're gonna be, like, jaded right now. You know, like, we're kind of, you know, on the little pessimistic
Every-
side about women just because of,
Sure.
you know,
I think you should
I
be
had
more
a-
pessimist.
I had I just got out of a marriage, a really horrible marriage, but I don't,
how long were you married?
I was married for 5 years.
5 years.
5 years. And I, kind of what we were talking about, I felt I had shown enough. I was comfortable in my masculinity enough to show some vulnerability.
Right.
And I think ultimately that was a mistake. I don't think I should have done that.
Well, because she wasn't showing you who she really was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So you're showing yourself as you truly are, but she's got this mask on and she's, you know, not really who she says
Right.
she is and is this whole other person behind your back.
Sure. In this relationship, I don't think it was ever going to work out because of that, because
Right.
she was showing that mask.
Right.
If we were both being honest about who we were, I mean, I still would have not shown that vulnerability. I still would have just dialed that back a little bit. But if she actually knew me like I knew myself, and then I don't think it would have been such a big deal that I
Right.
had shown, because she would have been like, oh, this motherfucker's a badass. I don't care that he,
Yeah.
you know, is a little bit weak sometimes. Everybody has weaknesses sometimes.
Exactly.
But I don't really look at it like I'm jaded. I'm not
Sometimes
jaded.
it's a scenario you're in life, like if you are vulnerable to begin with, and they never saw that side of you. You know, like
Yeah.
they never saw
Mhm.
you be
Yeah.
the badass that you are, that you know you are.
Like
Or-
maybe they saw the
right.
soft side first.
That's a
you're-
very good
or,
point.
Or you're
Yeah.
in a difficult situation in life.
That's a very good
So they
point.
never saw you kick ass in life. They just saw you like in this moment, and then grew from that.
That's a
Right,
great
so-
point,
so you had
because
to
I don't
show that.
think
Yeah.
she saw the old me. She saw kind of, you know, she only saw me for a certain amount of years, but she didn't know a lot of the stuff that I went through.
Right.
You know, I mean, I went to war. I've been blown up, shot at, all this stuff. So to me,
Yeah.
I was looked at it like, if I showed a little weakness, I don't care. I'm not.
Yeah, because you don't have to prove anything.
Right,
You
I
don't
don't
have to prove anything
shit.
to anyone
Yeah,
because
right.
you went, you know, to Afghanistan. You had to
Yeah, it's
Right.
successful
You deal
up and
with
down,
stuff-
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
deal with
But-
stuff that people die from. You know,
Right.
like scary shit.
But like you said, she didn't see that. So,
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Right.
But I
Yeah.
still knew.
And he doesn't
I
really talk
knew
about it.
because
Right.
I heard your stories and I, you know, and it just gave me a lot of respect for you just because of that. You know,
And like he said, I didn't really talk about it a whole lot, you know.
Yeah.
But why would I want to? You
Well,
know,
like, you know, your success too. You know, you had your own place. You know, different things going on. You came to Arizona with nothing.
yeah.
right,
you know.
right,
And you lived with me and my grandma.
Right. He was very vulnerable. Okay.
Very.
yeah.
But I never used that against him.
Good.
So, no, and I don't know. I think that the dynamics of like men and women right now are so flip flop, and I don't know how it's gonna ever get recovered ever.
I think there's going to be a rubber band effect. Eventually, in maybe another generation, women will be like, all the women are going to die alone essentially because guys
Right.
have given up on marriage. So
And I think women have too.
Sure.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Because
But-
right now the perception of women they just are like, well, men are just natural cheaters.
Yeah.
Our generation.
Men are trash, all
And
that stuff.
I saw a perfect description of this. It was a man, he was like, if you are walking down the street, you got $100 in your pocket, and you see a dollar bill, are you going to pick that dollar bill up?
Always.
Men are just like, yeah, of course. Anybody would, right?
Mhm.
But is it risk picking up that dollar bill to lose that $100 in your pocket?
Why would you lose a $100 bill if you picked up the $1 bill?
Because that's like a relationship. Like you're just, picking up some side chick somewhere, and you're
Okay,
going to lose
okay.
your $100 bill you got in your pocket because of it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bad metaphor there, but I would. That's definitely
Like,
not.
say,
If there was a
picking-
risk to that, definitely not.
Picking
Yeah.
up
Any
that
risk to
dollar
that
bill is going to
$100,
make
no.
that $100 bill disappear
Even
in
if there
your
was a
pocket.
10% chance of losing that $100 bill, I'd say fuck that dollar.
You see?
Yeah, well,
And that's the thing.
There's two things, because if you're a super successful top tier dude, I think a lot of chicks would sort of look the other way if you picked up the dollar bill.
That's the
But that's
thing,
the type of
though. Like,
relationship
why
you
would
want,
you?
though.
Absolutely not. No, I
But
don't
why
want
would
that.
you want to be with a man that has that perception to where you have to choose, like, oh, you're just going to have to deal with it and hurt? Either
Right,
be with
right.
me
You-
or don't be
yeah.
with me, because I'll get with any girl anyway.
I think you're operating off the assumption that men cheat more than women. Is that? Do you?
No, I don't
Okay,
think
okay.
that.
That's
I
all-
think women.
okay, but
I
no
think
matter what.
women cheat just as much as men. I think it's fair.
I think,
but the
I think
thing
women
is,
cheat way more. I really do. I really do. Now, I don't
Yeah,
have. That's
I mean,
anecdotal. I don't have any
yeah.
proof of that. I don't have any statistics.
I mean, I'm sure it's because if you think about it, women have more chances to cheat. Absolutely,
Right. I think that's
because
the
it's like
reason why.
10 men to
Right.
one woman.
And they
But-
get away with it a lot
and they
more
do, because
girls
they're,
think,
you
"Shut the
know-
guys are not going to.
No.
Thanks for having fun with me.
Yeah,
I'm not going
because
to fight this
they
guy
don't
over
have
you.
any
Yeah.
emotional
Right.
connection or anything, so it doesn't matter to them.
Yeah.
But for women, it's like they have that emotional connection to a man. Say that the man's cheating, on his
Right.
wife or whatever with a woman, and the side chick gets all jealous, and she's gonna go tattle. You know what I mean? Because she's emotionally connected, and she's gonna
Right,
have
so they
that.
get busted more.
Yeah.
yeah. And I think men, we're just stupider when it comes to that stuff. Like, we don't.
More stupid.
More stupid. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Grandma. All right.
Usually you're the grandpa.
Yeah, usually I'm the guy. But,
But what's the word that he always says? It's
There's so many.
oh, man, there's so many. He says, oh, man, what is it? I'm going to forget now.
Good.
I'm gonna think of it. But it's
All right.
epical. Epical is
or
one that he said.
miscellaneous.
Yeah.
That's a miscellaneous topic. Let's go back
Anyways.
to the regular topic here.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting off topic, but
That's fine. That's what we're here for. Get off
Right.
topic.
right. But I think that women are like men. We don't think like that. We're just sort of like, we see something, we just go for it. Like, women will be very strategic about
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And they're much more
No, calculated.
Yeah,
Right.
They go out of
right.
state and stuff, and
Yeah.
like, you know.
Yeah.
They weigh out the pros and cons.
Yeah.
Whereas men, they don't
Some
think
of them
about
do,
the.
but yeah.
Some of them do.
Some of them do, but
So, yeah.
Someone create a whole other life and world inside their social media in their head. and,
Exactly.
you know,
right.
That's another thing too. I wanted to ask you, like, so for women, it's easy to like portray yourself on social media as like, happy and bad bitch and everything online, because you pick and choose what you see and what you don't see.
in your audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how do you guys look for someone who you think is catfishing, or
Right.
like determine which is like truly a good-looking woman versus when you meet them in person, they are just
So I
Trash.
assume they're all trash and catfishing. I don't really
Right.
do the dating thing. It's kind of fun, but
they're all just exes.
they're
They're all future
Right.
exes. Yeah.
That too.
comes down to chemistry. I mean, you'll know the difference.
Yeah.
Well, you can know the red flags, but do you act on the red flags? Like, for me
Take notes.
personally,
That's true. You pick and choose your red flags
Right,
and what you
right,
want to
right.
deal with and what you don't.
yeah.
Choose your crazy.
Yeah.
But kind of like, you sent me something yesterday, and it was talking about how, like, you get what you tolerate, right? So
Right.
if you look past a few red flags and then
They're
look
gonna
past a
think
few
they
more,
can do that.
and you give them an inch and they'll take a mile.
Exactly.
So it's just like,
I see a pink flag and I fucking run. Oh shit, I'm surrounded.
I've
Surrounded by pink.
I've seen so many red flags in my relationship, and I stayed in it anyway, and I got burned. That's why I'm like not even really. I'm not jaded. I'm not
Yeah.
mad at her, because it's like
Why get mad?
Yeah, why get mad?
Why hold on to any animosity or
right.
anger?
And I'm not saying I'm ever going to be friends with this woman or like extra cordial with her or anything. Like I don't like her,
Yeah.
but I don't hate her because it's like.
Well, like that, you guys have to be cordial. You have to just because you guys have a child together.
You do.
And so you have to show that to your daughter because if not, she's not going to know the difference between, you know, right and wrong when it comes to a relationship.
Well, she's already not going to know the difference between right and wrong because she's partly raised by her. So, but
That sounded very bitter.
you know what? I don't care. It's not bitter. It's just the truth. She's just not a good person. And you know what? I don't like the idea of her being half raised by her, but I know that she's safe with her. She knows that she's safe with me. She doesn't like me. I don't like her. But we
Those are good points.
co-parent,
Yes.
you know, in general. And I've been on both sides of it because you and me co-parent phenomenally.
Yeah, right.
And then me and her hate each other, but we still co-parent
But
in a
me
sense.
and you, when we first broke up,
It was
we
not.
hated each other.
We hated each other.
Right.
But if someone would have told me, oh, you're going to be like good friends with Laurie, I would have told them you're crazy because I
You're gonna be doing a podcast with her.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
hanging out with her almost
yeah,
every day.
right.
wait for her to the other room, hanging out with the kids.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, but
But we had a good like friendship too, like
Right.
you know, throughout our
Right.
relationship,
Right.
and then also with my boyfriend, like we all were really good friends, you know.
Yes.
So it was just kind of easy to just coexist and you know
Right.
be friends again,
Right.
you know, and just get rid of all the bullshit.
Right.
And most of the bullshit is gone.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I had a good friendship with my ex, but it was all fake. You know,
Yeah.
it was an act that she was putting on. So
Right.
for me, that's why it was easy to get over it quick and not be super mad at her because it's like,
Well, too, you've had, you know, multiple times where you guys broke up, got back together, broke up, so you got to see that side of her multiple times.
yeah, and that definitely made it easier for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. And that's one of the main things is because we broke up for 7 months or whatever. When I took her back, you know, I'm gonna do this, and then when she didn't do it, it's like I knew that was the risk of taking her back.
Right.
I knew that was a potential outcome.
Like,
of-
did you believe that she would change or that things would improve?
I
or,
did. I did. I wouldn't have taken her
Actually,
back if I didn't.
Things were improving.
Exactly.
What it seemed like.
On the surface, it was improving
Right.
massively. You know, but
And what was her excuse? Like, because she cheated on you,
Right.
correct?
Yeah.
And you found this all out from a third party,
yes,
right?
yes.
So it's not like you discovered it on your own or,
Right, no, yeah,
you know.
I don't even get the prestige of saying I caught her. You know, I didn't
Yeah.
catch her. She caught herself. Like the
Yeah.
dude, you know, messaged me. But
So he was like the chick, you know.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was that bitter side chick. You know?
Bitter crybaby
Right.
side
So
chick.
yeah, it's
Right.
okay for him. He was in another state. He didn't have to fight you.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
He didn't have to see you. He
Yeah.
didn't have
Right.
to nothing. He could have just dropped it.
But he could have come over. He could come walk through this door right now, and I wouldn't fight him because I don't care. I'm
Yeah,
not
exactly.
mad at him.
I mean, it's a
you know?
good thing that it happened.
Sure.
You know, in,
Yeah,
in your
no.
eyes, yeah.
It
'Cause
could have
then
been. It could have gone on for another
a long
2, 3
time.
years, 5
Yeah.
years, whoever knows. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that it happened.
But what was her excuse as to why she did it?
Oh, that's it. The excuse was I work too much. You know.
Oh, so you get to not work and stay at home
Yeah.
and cheat on your husband because he works too much to
Right.
take care of you and your kids and
Right.
that keep the house and keep the bills.
She wanted that typical gender role where like I was working all the
Makes
time
no
and she
sense.
could stay home and not have to
Yeah.
work. And it's like I can see it either way. I don't mind gender roles one way or the other. But do I prefer it where the man is working? Hell yeah, I loved it. I
Yeah.
loved it. You know, when I come home,
And there
I
was
get
a time too where like you weren't working and she was the one working and paying the bills.
Exactly. And
So
when I wasn't,
you didn't cheat
you know,
on her though.
Fuck no. Fuck no, I didn't. And there was a short time where I probably wasn't working, but for the most part,
Yeah,
I
super
was
short
working.
time. I just remember there was a point where she would blow it up too.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
the one that pays all the bills.
Look at my big dick. You know,
Look
but
at my
the
big
thing is,
dick.
like, once the roles got switched, and I was the one working all the time and paying 100% of the bills, and she wasn't doing anything. It was great for the first month, you know. I'm
Maybe
getting
it made
blowjobs,
her
back rubs,
feel-
food, you know, all that
Yeah.
stuff. It made her feel like, oh, I'm this typical one.
But maybe it made her feel insecure.
Well, yeah, that
Yeah.
too, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, she didn't have a car. And
Exactly.
Other things going
Right.
on in her
She
life.
didn't have any
was
independence.
Stuck. Yeah, no
So
independence. She had no
maybe that's
control.
why she went searching or why she decided to
Well-
cheat because it gave her that empowerment, you know?
Right.
It's created a whole other kind of escape, I guess.
Yeah,
Sure.
You know,
exactly.
because she
But-
felt so.
But that's as smart as she was, how dumb is that you would do all
That's
this
not-
when
yeah.
I have control of everything and then you cheat and it's now I'm like, all right, well,
Now you have nothing.
leave.
Yeah.
Okay, now you have, you don't have shit.
Yeah.
At least you didn't have a car, but at least you had. I was letting you use my truck.
You had
I was
a
letting
roof
you
over
live
your
under
head.
my roof. I had I was giving you money.
You
All
had
the stuff,
food.
and it's like now you don't have shit.
Yeah.
So
And like you going back to communication,
Yeah.
like that's key. Like if you're feeling these ways, explain it in a
Express
certain
it.
way. Try to work on something.
Yeah.
And from my point of view, he was doing what he can. He has to work. I mean,
Right.
it was an adjustment period too, because you were you had your own business and you had all these clients too you had to take care of.
Yeah.
It was like a middle of summer, so like it's prime time. So I mean, there's things you guys could have worked on different ways, but
Well,
I felt like some people or some things that wasn't really someone's intentions.
No.
to,
And I don't think it was either. I think she got bored. And that's the thing is you got to find something that you like to do, like a passion. Like for me, I don't work right now. I do have an interview next week. So, hopefully, and I haven't been unemployed very long, but I still do things to keep myself occupied. Not saying that I'm like searching for things to do or anything like that, but it just makes things a lot easier. Like you're doing something and you're accomplishing something, so that way you don't feel like, you're not doing anything or that you're not accomplishing your full potential and getting insecure about that and being at home while you're taking care of kids. Because that's a job in itself.
Oh, for sure.
But it gets boring and it gets monotonous. And, you want to look for something that, makes your brain thrive a little bit more.
yeah, you need to be stimulated. or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
Work on yourself too. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of things that some people can
Improving
work
mentally
on. Yeah.
and physically and, go to the gym more or, do a podcast.
Things you really can't do when you don't have a ride and situation.
That's true.
And I'm in that situation
I
myself.
wasn't the cause of her losing her car. I wasn't the
No.
cause of any of that. But to give her, I don't want to give her any credit, but like she did start, like he said, communication. She was saying like, oh, I never get to spend time with you. You work so much, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I work for you. I work
Exactly.
for our kids. You think I like working
Like
all
you
the time?
should appreciate
Right,
that.
right. Like,
Yeah.
try not being an ungrateful bitch.
Yeah.
But so she did say that, she was constantly, but it's like, that doesn't give you a
Well,
right to cheat.
well,
doesn't give you a right to
Yeah.
step out.
Right.
That's beside the point. So when she comes at you like that with communication and telling you how she feels, like I'm sure you didn't go, "You're fucking ungrateful." I mean, it was more like, well, how can we help this
Yeah,
situation?
And that's the thing. I did try to. How can we make this better? What can I do? I was always.
But did she have any ideas or have any thoughts or anything that she thinks that she could do to improve herself?
Her mind is just TikTok and dick. That's it. So there wasn't really
dick.
much, more than
TikTok
that.
and TikTok.
Yeah, right. But no, not really. Like just go on more date nights and stuff. And
I'm gonna make a porn website it's gonna be called Dick Cock.
dick cock.
Yeah,
Dick
it's gonna be
cock.
like TikTok, but all porno.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
You
Yeah.
can just scroll
Like,
through and I
Yeah.
don't like this
It's like
one.
Pornhub for ADD people,
Nick
Yeah.
just loves all just the nugget porn.
Nugget porn.
For you.
Too many limbs. Too
Oh,
many limbs.
yeah.
Swipe right or swipe left.
One limb, still too much.
Still too much. Way too much.
Is dick considered a limb?
It can be if it's big enough, right? But you know what? I don't want them to have any. I don't want them to be able to fight back, right? I want to be able to just roll them over.
all the nuggets, like man and woman are nugget, or only one of them's nugget? Like
I
women?
consider nuggets just women with no arms or legs.
Have you ever seen a nugget man with just one limb as a dick?
Inside another nugget.
Inside another nut.
well,
How does
my
that even
God.
work?
Whoa.
They just like roll onto each other. Oh,
No, they got to be on like winches. Where they have to.
They'd be like turtles. They just fall over and are like, shit.
Or like
the engine cherry picker,
no, they have the sex swing.
Yes.
Man.
One nugget in the swing. One
Hey, pull
nugget
this up.
on-
Dude, you walk into something like that, you'll never be the same.
Oh
Like,
fuck.
Yeah, that's what I'm scared of.
That's
all right, let's
hilarious.
get away from that. How that beard's
Yeah.
so off course
I'm
from
gonna put dickcock.com and nugget porn on my notes here. Get back to that
Notes.
later.
Yes. So, but that's why you got to work on other things besides just what you're bored with, what you do every single day. Like step out of your comfort zone, find something that maybe you didn't like before, but you want to try it. Like when I started drawing, like that was my escape to get away from all the stress and anxiety I was going through when I was like hated my life. Like
Yeah.
when I was previously married, going through divorce, that was my escape, and I just took off with it. I don't know.
That's a beautiful
Yeah.
escape.
Yeah.
I love that.
It is because you
have
get
nothing
so
to do.
lost in it,
Yeah.
and it's like, holy shit, when you're done, you're just like, wow, like I just did that in 2 hours or whatever.
Yeah. My wife did that too, the drawing thing.
Yeah.
And then, like, I think TikTok and drawing were her escape. And part of when I took her back after we broke up for 7 months, part of the conditions were she couldn't have Snapchat and she couldn't have TikTok.
Which is understandable because she's
I knew it would.
Yeah.
She's the kind of person who has the propensity to do something like that.
Right, and you have to get that trust back.
Right,
Like, you can't just, all
Propensity,
right, this
I
is
gotta put that in
starting
my
us over
Right.
from the beginning. So,
Yeah.
Right.
no,
Yeah.
you
Fixing
have
some
previous.
problems, yeah.
I have to take
build
responsibility
back
for the
up
fact
that
that if I even thought she would go that route, why would I even take her back in the first
Entertain it.
place?
Yeah.
Right. But I always I never wanted a woman who didn't work at all because I thought, idle hands are the devil's playground or whatever whatever that quote is. But that's what I thought. I thought if she was sitting at home all day, she would get bored and she'd start, I'm going to
Reaching
start
out to
texting, I'm going to
other-
start doing
yeah.
this, and
Well, the tables were turned too. I mean, it was all your stuff, your place. You were working, both jobs. So when you showed, a different side of yourself. So it's like, okay, now I worked on myself. I'm showing you that I can take care of this without you.
Right.
Right.
So let's see if this works now.
yeah.
Right.
Now let's see if you'll change.
And
it
ultimately,
didn't.
letting her have TikTok and everything is what, made her cheat. Not
Right.
make her cheat, but you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It
Yeah.
allowed her, enabled her to cheat
Right.
because it was available to her.
And I think it's a little bit different with her than most people because I personally, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't want to diagnose anybody, but I think she has a certain condition that would, I think she was going to cheat no matter what. I don't blame her. I think she was going to do that no matter what.
Right.
I don't blame myself. I don't blame her. It was just, that was going to happen. But I think most women, even if they have no mental illness, no childhood trauma, if they have too much time on their hands,
They get bored.
yeah, women are naturally hypergamous
gonna
and they'll try to
search
kind of
for attention. They're going
Right.
to search for that, person that's going to always have attention to them.
Yeah.
Directed at them.
So
I think
if
that goes for most people in general.
yeah, I
think
agree.
I'm the only person that just loves being alone. I don't need
I mean,
all the
I'm sure there's a
attention.
lot of people out there that love being alone, but ultimately, when you think about it, nobody wants to be alone.
no one
it's
wants to
always-
die alone.
Nobody wants to be alone forever. Nobody wants. Yeah,
But
why
what's
would
alone?
you?
Like being alone temporary, just being with yourself in your own head. And
But what
no
if
drawing.
mentally, you don't have anything to anyone to express
But
to, nothing
that's
to.
sad if you don't have.
That's
you know,
where
Yeah,
we
exactly.
disagree a little bit. We
Yeah.
kind of
I
diverge
have
because he's
a lot
kind of like
friends
that, and
family.
I
I
personally
can call them
want.
if I want to.
Yeah, but what happens when they're not there anymore?
Eventually, maybe
Yeah.
some of them will pass away, but
That's what I'm saying.
But
And you won't have anyone to
I'd
call.
rather focus on them now instead of needing
Right.
someone else.
Giving
that,
giving them the
right.
100% that they deserve
Right.
because you love and care about them, versus somebody that's not even going to appreciate it.
Exactly.
I get that.
Like, I'm not going to pick up that $100 for
That
and
$1.
lose the 100 I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like your family, you
Right,
know,
right.
like your
Yeah, but I think, going back to what I said about the whole men are hopeless romantics, every guy wants his queen, that one girl that's only his, or whatever that.
Yeah.
But I think that that's sort of unrealistic these days because of the way our society's going, and
I think with our generation though it's not. Just because I know that there are people out there that are our age that still believe in, a monotonous relationship, or how only having that, one person that you love and care about, and you don't go beyond that. And you have that trust, and you have that,
I want a queen,
romantic.
yeah. I want a queen tied up in a dungeon that can't go anywhere, can't use TikTok. I'll
Just
feed her. I'll be
tired.
the
nugget, bro,
Yeah, I'll be the
nugget.
cook. Yeah, perfect.
What
I'll
you
be
gonna
the
do,
cook, I'll
roll
be the
away,
work, I'll do
dude?
everything. I'll clean the house. They just sit there and wait for me to come home and do my thing.
Right.
Yeah, but that's obviously not realistic, so.
Yeah, because women get bored.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, she's chained up. I'm not
Yeah,
worried
She's
the nugget will be
chained up.
using
She can't
her
do
tongue
something.
to
TV for
swipe
her,
on
yeah.
TikTok or whatever. You know what I mean?
They'll find a way.
Yeah, they'll find. Yeah, for real, they will find a way.
Oh man.
But so just like women want a guy who's 6 foot whatever, and then makes all this money, a man wants a girl who has
Nuggets.
a super low body count and
Oh yeah.
or doesn't
Have experience with anything.
want want a woman who has children with that wasn't
Yeah.
with him, and it's is that can be a little unrealistic
True.
for a
True.
person of that age, of an
Exactly.
advanced age,
Yeah.
So if I'm 36, if I'm looking for a woman who's around my age, how many of them are not going to have kids? How many of them
Yeah.
are going to have the low notch count and all that
Right.
stuff? It's
And you have to think about it too that, yeah, they may have a kid with someone else, but you could learn to love that kid, and it becomes a part of your family, and, becomes a blessing to your life just because of the way that they have reacted to you, or like, you know, you've seen them
You helped
being
them- helped
raised and
raise
helped
them.
them raise them, and you get to see this life flourish because of your presence and your, you know,
I
just
believe
you
a lot of the
being an
stuff
influence.
the Andrew Tates and the red pilled people of the world
Yeah.
say, the red pilled manosphere type stuff. But that's where I diverge a little bit. I don't mind having a stepchild. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I have
Obviously,
a stepchild right now.
because
Yeah.
I had a kid when me and you first got together,
Yeah.
and we didn't have a kid together. You didn't have any kids,
Yeah.
and you treated her just like if she was your own.
Yeah.
And I love, just because that's what I look for in someone that I want to have a future with, because that's how my stepdad was. You know, he was there
Right.
for me from the time I was 6 years old until now. And he's my dad, you know, like,
Right,
and
exactly.
he taught me everything I know. And if it wasn't for him, I don't know who I'd be today, you know?
Right.
And maybe if the lots of women have what you, lots of children in general have what
Right.
you had, where the dad's not always
Like,
around.
I had someone who I looked up to because of that.
Right.
Because
think-
I always wondered what my real dad was doing, or like why I wasn't good enough, because I never heard from him. I still don't. And he was, you know, living here 5 miles away from me all my life, you know? But he doesn't know anything about me. I would go visit him because it would be on, you know, I would have to go to him, you know, and it was always me reaching out. And anytime I got there or like was hanging out, it was just weird because I didn't know him. I didn't know anything about him. I didn't know his morals or his life or his, you know, what he does. I still don't. But at the same time, I don't think he's a bad person or nothing, but it's just, I had my dad who was there for me from day one and helped
Right.
raise me. And I saw, you know, the way he treated my mom and the morals that he reflected. And that's what I learned. And that's what I, you know, appreciate, just because if I didn't have that, I don't know how I would be today.
I'm just
Or-
settled at being like Uncle Brad. I like that. I don't need to be
Right.
a stepfather. I don't need another girl.
But
I'll
I
just be Uncle
think
Brad for the
one
rest of my
day,
life.
like if that right person comes around, then it would just be natural for you. I really do.
There you go.
Where it's like you
I'm
don't
not betting on
have,
it, but yeah, if it happens, it happens.
You know.
yeah.
yeah, you just gotta have an open mind about it, I think.
I know what I'm looking for, so I mean, it'll find itself.
Yep.
But every kid needs a strong male
Exactly.
role model. Like, and they say that it's almost more important to have a male role model than a female role model.
Right.
And that's not to take away anything away from mothers. Mothers are incredibly important. They breed the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
But
My
having
mom-
a male role model is extremely important.
My
You
mom
know
is my
why?
favorite male role model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she does both, you know.
Bad dude, man.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't. But yeah.
Yeah.
And more
She's a strong
women are
woman.
having to do that.
Yeah.
They're having to take on that role because the men are dipping, or the men are just not, they don't
Yeah.
want to stick around.
Or they don't have that, you know, standard of living. You know, they only care about themselves and, you know.
Yeah. But there are plenty of men out there that do want to be good dads,
Yeah.
and that's why it's so important that if a dad does want to be in the picture, the woman,
Don't let
doesn't matter
them-
how much you hate the guy.
Yeah.
Fuck all that. Let those feelings,
Yeah.
worry about that kid.
The
That kid's
child
life,
needs their
right.
father.
Right.
Every child.
Right.
And that's why, like, with our situation, I would never, like, you didn't see Reese, our son, for a year.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of other factors to that, to
Yeah.
where it's like, with my marriage, like, if I even tried to talk to you or anything, it was like, you would jump down my throat. You know,
Yeah.
like,
You're
I'm
trying to fuck him.
You're trying to be
yeah.
with him. You're trying to
Yeah.
do this or that. Like, even when I would try to go drop Reese off with you, I had to have my phone on. And I had to, like, make it to where he could hear everything the entire time. Because if not, he would jump down my ass for it when I
Yeah.
got home.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And your situation wasn't the best either. I mean.
No,
yeah,
like,
Yeah.
I didn't, at the time I blamed you, I was like,
Oh,
whatever.
yeah. I
But-
understand completely. But it's like, if I didn't do what he said, like with pushing with lawyers and pushing with, like, this and that, if I didn't do exactly what he said, then I was cheating on him with you. And I still had cared about you. I still had feelings for you, everything. So when it came to that point where I knew that I was leaving him and I knew that it wasn't going to work out, I didn't care anymore. I did not care. I would reach out to you. I would, like, whenever we met up after the Renaissance Festival, the first time you got to see Reese and you cried, I had to turn around because I cried.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that's important. Like,
Yeah.
he's been a whole year and Reese's life is affected because of that.
Yeah.
For a whole year.
Yeah.
He had to go without his dad. And I swore to myself, I'd never do that again. I don't care. Like, if you want to see Reese and want to be in his life, I'm going to do everything I can to help you with that too.
Yeah.
Because it's important. He needs to have his dad in his life. You know?
And I understand what you went through because I was also with someone that was sort of unstable and was very, very jealous and, you know.
And would act like, you know, she wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, you heard the last podcast whenever I was like, oh, well, when we would hang out, she would be like best friend with me, but then every time we would drink, she would bring up the past every single time.
Yep.
Every time.
Yep.
And then she'd be like, but I'm not mad at you. You know, it was his fault, but I'm not. But I'm like, why are we talking about it again?
Yeah.
Again and again and again.
That shit was 4 years ago, like 5 years ago. Like,
it was a while ago.
Yeah.
You know, like.
And of course, she's like, people don't forget, you know, but it's like,
Some
leave that
people
shit
use
alone.
situations like
Yeah,
that.
the
to,
ones that
you
are
know,
still bitter
act
and
those ways.
petty about it,
Right.
don't forget.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm the type of person that I don't want to hold on to any kind of anger or animosity because that lets that control me.
Right.
And it controls who I am. And
Right.
why would I want to give that to someone that hates me
Right.
or
And once you truly grow and mature, like,
Yeah.
you're definitely like,
you don't care
That's-
about it. You don't care about any of that.
right.
Right.
Be mad. Be mad
I
at me,
actually
hate
learned
me.
from that whole situation,
Yeah.
and I grew from that.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah,
obviously
exactly.
you have it. You're still stuck.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm not upset about it or mad about it because I don't care anymore and I'm not going to let it control my life. You know, I don't care how bad I was mad or whatever before, but you got to let that shit go because
Yeah.
it'll run your
And that's
whole
kind of
life.
my advice to him too. I mean, he's
Yeah.
doing amazing, but
Like, just
it's just
let
like
it
just let it
go.
go. Just
Yeah.
you know, and he does. He'll take walks. So
Oh, yeah.
you know, he doesn't show too much.
He's
but, you know,
100%
works out,
different
yeah.
than what he used to be back in the day.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Like with
Better
your
man than me.
anger and everything, I'm like, I don't know if he can ever get over this anger stuff.
I
You
was
know?
talking about that too. I'm like,
I-
you know, not maybe us, but not a lot of people think that you won't go back, you won't act this way because of the past.
No,
I'm like,
people
no, but
can
I see
change.
it.
I've
Right.
seen it
Yeah.
with Nick. Like he
Yeah.
completely has changed who he was, and that's another reason why like I didn't care what anyone else said. Like I'm gonna let him see him. I'm gonna let him be with him because he's a different person, and people can change for the better and for the good.
Yeah.
You give your ex some credit for your growth, whether it be good or bad. You know what I mean? Because whether or not you had bad, which helped you improve as a person to be good.
That's
You know what I
huge.
mean? Because
Yeah.
it helped you grow. It helped you grow. It helped you, you know, move on to that next step, that next chapter. And I saw...
Still young. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. And I saw a meme too, like, you're going to go through stages of life and some people aren't going to go with you because they're not going to grow with you.
Yeah.
They're going to stay there, but you don't want to be stagnant. You don't want to stay there.
And that's kind of, I was stagnant for a big part of our relationship early on, and then I grew, and then she didn't. You know, she kind
Exactly.
of stayed the same, and it was like, I naturally
You're ready to
just
move
sort of-
on. You're
Right.
ready to upgrade and, you
Right.
know.
So when it happened, as devastating as it was for the betrayal part of it, it was just like, I mean, I guess this is just happening now, and
Yep.
you just like, what are you gonna do, you know? And
Just move on.
Yeah.
Just move up and
Yeah.
improve and keep going on with your life because somebody's going to be up there with you. That is going to be worth to take that, you know, ride with you or, you know.
yeah,
What's crazy is that I would tell our like close friends and family back home and stuff, just not details, but briefly, say what happened. And it wasn't like, oh fuck, man, how's he doing? It was more like, hell yeah,
Good
man,
for
good
him.
for him.
Good
Man.
for
He's-
him.
Yeah, he'll be
Yeah.
all right. It's
Exactly.
like, oh, fuck, man.
Because when you see somebody doing
sad,
things
though.
like how, like, my boyfriend's ex and everything, how everything digressed for her in her life and everyone else just moved up and moved on, but she's still there. She's still there. She still lives there and she still harps on it and still dwells on it and sucks for her. Like, I hope one day she can, like, move on and get over it. But whenever you sit there and treat people like absolute shit and then expect them to cater to you after that, like, that's where it starts getting kind of like irrational and crazy whenever you're
It's-
sitting there and not taking responsibility for things that you've done and you're just making it seem like everyone else
it's
is at
completely
fault.
irrational to think like this person's growing and like, I'm mad about that. I'm mad that
Jealous,
right.
insecure, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And not taking responsibility. Like we all know people do that. We
Oh, yeah.
probably all do that ourselves. But
Exactly.
you really have to, any situation, no matter what it is, you have to be able to look at yourself and be like, you know what,
Hold
I could have
yourself
done.
accountable.
Right, you hold
Yeah.
yourself accountable. You look like I could have done this.
Yeah,
different.
you
I could have done
should
this
definitely
differently.
evaluate yourself in every situation that you put yourself in, because that's what happens. You put yourself there.
Yeah.
Right.
So you need to evaluate yourself if you're doing the right or wrong thing,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to take responsibility for that.
We're saying
Yeah.
like also believe in yourself, believe your thoughts and your gut feelings, and your like
Exactly.
you see a red
Yeah.
flag, believe, hey, I'm feeling this way. That is a red flag. There's a reason why. Don't do that. you
Yeah.
know?
That's why with an ex-boyfriend I dated for like 6 months or whatever, I just had a gut feeling that it was like just off, because he was acting very like jealous. Like he would get upset with me and Krista hanging out a lot, and I'm like, that's weird, and so that's when I went through his phone and I found those videos of him recording his mother-in-law. She was like 70 or 80.
Oh man.
She was getting out of the bathtub and he was recording underneath the door.
Shit I ever heard in my life.
Yeah. And I was disgusted. Like, it made my stomach turn. It made me sick. And
That's
it was
so
like
fucking
3 in the
creepy.
morning when I saw that. And I kicked his ass out that moment.
Man, the jokes and shit that we say, like,
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and we even get
that shit
disgusted
is
by
real.
some jokes we say, but it's like, and that
But
stuff
when you
is
see
real.
it,
Like that
when
is,
you
there's
see it
creeps
live,
out there.
and I didn't even know what I was looking
Yeah.
at when I first saw it. And I was like, is he really recording her from underneath the door?
Dude,
This
holy
helpless old lady, she's getting out of the bathtub, okay, and he's recording it for his self-pleasure. Like, the grossest thing I've ever seen. And from then on out, I was like, well, shit. Like, I need to start listening to my gut instinct, because that was terrible. Like,
shit. I think this is wrong. I should probably break up with this guy.
no, there was no thinking. Now I'm like, this fucker's getting out right now. And I told him, I was like,
institution.
I went in the bathroom and I was like, you better be gone by the time I get out. I was so mad. Like, I've never been
Mad.
so mad and heated in my life seeing that. And it was his ex-wife's mother. And I messaged her and told her that what I saw. I told her it was on his iCloud, everything, so she could find it, whether he deleted it or not. So it was
It's up to you
There's
guys
evil
now,
people
yeah.
out there for sure.
evil. And I really liked that dude. Like, I really thought that
Oh,
he
man.
was, I was like, this is perfect. He's treating me real good. But then he started getting a little jealous about stuff and making comments. And that's where the gut instinct came in. And I searched for stuff. And I am a searcher. Like, Nick will tell you.
Oh, yeah.
I
Oh,
can
yeah.
go through some
Oh,
shit.
yeah, I could tell
I'll
you some
go through
stories.
your emails, your deleted emails, your archive. Like, I will go through all of it and I will find it. Okay. I am like the best at like research for shit like that.
I think there's a strength that comes from like being around someone who's super evil like that, and like moving past it and just being like, holy shit, like there
I
are really
made
fucked
it.
up people
Yes.
out there. Yeah, and I
defeated
I didn't
evil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I overcame it in a sense,
Yeah,
And, it's,
and even people were kind of like leery about him when I first started dating him, and I was like, no, he's great, he's perfect, And like Joe was one of them. He was like, no, there's something off about this dude, and we all liked him. He was cool to hang out with and stuff, but everyone had their little, I don't know about. There's something about him, and guess I fucking found it, y'all. I found it.
I had a family friend who turned out to be like a child molester basically, and I liked the
yeah.
guy, and it fucked me up because I'm like, I thought I was such a good judge of character.
Oh yeah.
Not only did I not see my wife being a complete living a double life, but I also liked this guy. I really did. And to
Right.
find out that he did that was like,
Makes
holy
you
shit.
sick.
It makes you sick, but it
Yeah.
also makes you question everything about yourself because
Right.
you're like, damn, dude, I'm
Well,
not smart at all. Like,
I
not even a little bit.
I was shown that at 13 years old because I had a family member who molested my sister, and she told me about it, and my heart fell out of my ass for real. Because this family member, was my favorite family member, and I was with him all the time. I didn't like being with him alone. I didn't know why. Now I know, because I found out that he molested her, and she thought it was a joke. She thought it was like, haha, he did this to me. And I was like, that's wrong, So I told my mom, found out that he also did it to my mom. And so I was bombarded at 13 years old that I think I have this great, good family that I feel comfortable and, happy with, it was gone. Just completely crumbled out from underneath me to where I was like, I can't trust anybody. Because the one person in my family that I cared and loved the most, I found out was a child molester and had been molesting my mother since the time she was like 7 until she was 16 years old. So for me, I have I'm no trust for men, in that aspect. I'm always questioning. I'm questioning my daughter. I'm questioning,
Silver lining.
everything.
You learned it early.
I did.
I learned it at 36.
I know.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was not allowed to be talked about. It was a hush-hush thing. And I think now it's becoming more open and more like, you shouldn't be doing that to little kids because that just takes away all of their innocence, all of their childhood. From then on out, they're thinking about things they shouldn't be thinking about, and it's not even their fault.
And you can be
they don't know
creating
why.
more predators.
Exactly.
Because then they might go on and
Attract
do something like
predator.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just a vicious cycle that I hope one day will come to an end because nobody should take a child's innocence. Nobody should be, making children feel that way or manipulate children into thinking it's okay. I think it's disgusting. Like, I wish that there was a way to...
That reminds me of what, his ex did to him, where did she touch you inappropriately?
The gooch. A lot of gooch touching. Yeah.
Hate it. That's a lie. That's
I
a fucking
came to me
lie.
crying.
actually
came to me
loved
crying.
it.
Yeah.
Actually, I loved it.
Yeah. But like this whole relationship dynamic with men and women, that's the messed up part about it is because as more and more time like relationships don't work and more people are kind of being single later in life, that's going to screw up the kids and that's going to make the kids be,
and think it's okay and normal.
Cycle
Right,
too. They
right.
grow
Yes.
up and they,
Yes.
as there
think
more
it's normal.
infidelity and then families break up.
Yep.
Now that kid is growing up in a single parent home and then that's almost the
feeling alone and feeling, left out or
statistically that's one of the number one determiners of success is a nuclear family,
Yes.
So if a kid grows up in a nuclear family, they're way more likely to be successful and have a normal life. If not, they get molested, they
become narcissists.
They become narcissists. They have a bunch of childhood trauma and stuff like that.
and they don't trust people, which
You know what I would
is a
tell
good
them?
thing to have.
Yeah.
To man up.
Just get over it.
You know what? And as men, that's
Grow up.
kind of what we have to
Grow
do,
up.
But
Yeah. I don't know. It makes me sick though. I even have family members that are adults, that went through shit like that as a child, and it kills me because I'm like, you did not deserve that. No kid does.
no kid
no
deserves
one
that. No
deserves
kid
that,
deserves
but
that.
it just kills me to see the good in people's hearts, knowing the things that they've been through growing up and in life, and the trauma and the bullshit and the hurt and pain they've had to endure, but they're still out there going and still loving and caring about people.
yeah.
It's I don't know, it just blows my mind because you still have love in your heart and you still have, things that you can do and grow and be, even though you went through hell.
Yeah.
My mom calls it staying gold. She always says that.
Stay
gold.
Right. You can't
No matter
help,
what happens.
You can't help the trauma that you went through as a kid.
Right.
That's not something you could really do much about because you're a kid. You're helpless compared to an
Yeah.
adult if someone does something like that to you. But you can choose to. You can try to become better from it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's where there's a choice because some
Yes.
people they become narcissists or they become very bitter, and then some people.
Yes.
You know,
But
like,
it's hard whenever, if it's something to do with how you're loved, but that love is pain.
yeah.
Because you've literally had pain anytime
Yeah.
you've been shown any love. It's been
associate
hurt.
that
And you
with,
associate the two. So therefore, anything that loves you or you love hurts.
I kind of have that,
It's painful.
So
I see that.
I'm with my family and friends, the ones I already loved and love me. When I find someone new that they say they love me, they want my last name,
You're like running away.
yeah, I'm like,
You're like, oh, pain.
flashbacks, I have PTSD, yeah.
Oh man, yep, that's why. And that's what sucks, because if you don't have that genuine love that actually makes you feel fulfilled and you actually have that stepping stone in life, then that's something that you're gonna fail at every time.
It comes with chemistry. I think you'll know when you know. And
yeah.
You just can't,
Well,
can't be
healing.
better. Can't be, yeah.
Healing and
You have to heal.
relearning, because you have to relearn how to love, and you have to relearn how to grow from that.
Love yourself.
Exactly. Love for yourself, and love for like telling yourself that you are capable of love and you're able to, receive love. And it doesn't have to hurt. It doesn't have to be pain. And that's what you have to like reteach yourself. But who knows how to do that?
What I tell myself is, you're a piece of shit. You don't deserve anything.
Me
You're
too.
the fuck up. And then I stay the fuck away from that. So it never
And
happens.
that's the opposite. That's the opposite.
Everybody but Brad does deserve love in their life. They deserve to be
But
treated
Brad.
well. But Brad, yeah.
Yeah, I already
But
had it.
Weasel Brad.
Yeah, I already had it. Yeah, Weasel. I already had that love. I don't need that shit again. Shit.
Everyone does. Everyone does.
Yeah. But
And I'm sure.
everybody should almost go through like childhood trauma retraining, to like learn, because like even the best childhood usually had some sort of something that leads to something else when you get older.
Well, I think that's why it's important to tell kids to talk about stuff.
And tell them
Oh,
to
yeah.
grow
Talk
up.
about how you're hurting, and talk about pain, talk about why you feel this way, what happened to you, that it's okay to talk, it's okay to, express yourself. And because that's where the disconnection was in the past. You're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to say so-and-so hurt you, or,
Well, I'm sure that
You
person
can't.
probably groomed them to not talk about it because they don't want to get caught.
Exactly.
They don't want, you know what I mean?
And that's the thing. That's why, like, the good people out there need to make sure the kids know, like, go to somebody you trust and talk about it. So that way you can start learning to
That's exactly it.
move on from it and, like,
That goes
grow
with
from
anything,
it.
even not trauma, just everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Everything.
everything.
Well, our son started lying to us.
Yeah.
And that's what hurt me the most, is because I want you to be able to come to me with anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
And I could tell when he lies usually, but then he would lie. He started getting good about it. And I'm like, where the fuck is this coming from?
Yeah.
But you know why?
Experience.
He's fucking scared.
Yeah.
He's fucking scared.
Yeah.
So I'm like, did you just say you're wearing socks? You're not wearing any fucking socks, you little shit. He's like, oh god.
Well, another thing too with a lot of family members, he fucks up one time and gets it from everybody.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
But
he
you know
thinks he's
what?
a bad person.
That's
Like, you're not
past
bad,
trauma from when you were with your ex, because she was so hard on him and told him that he was a bad kid. He can't be good. So he would come home and he'd be like, I just can't be good. My brain can't be good. My brain won't.
just
And this
a
was
bad
at
kid.
3.
Yeah.
And he's a good kid. He's such a
very He's got
good, sweet
great
kid.
Heart.
Yeah.
Great
Yes.
heart,
But
Definitely.
he just doesn't know how to express it because he couldn't hear very good. So the way that he absorbed things when he was younger is different than, what me, you, and Nick have gone through, because we could hear when we were little.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys have.
I would just tell the teacher to fuck off anyways. I mean, it had
Right?
nothing to do.
Me too.
Yeah. All of us did.
But we gotta like teach kids sarcasm, and not. That's the thing that Reese is like getting in trouble for at school, I think. Because for
Yeah.
him, he's trying to be sarcastic and funny, but they take it serious. You can't shoot at people
But
at school.
he's also not reading the room, all right? So he's
Yeah,
kinda,
right.
he's going overboard. It's like you got a very good sense of humor, but like
He's like, I'll fucking kill you, And the teacher's like, you
that's
can't
funny,
say
right?
that.
It's funny. Hey,
He's
everyone,
like,
high five. That-
he's like, what? You can't take a joke?
How did
Like,
that
he
not get
literally
crushed?
said
That was such a funny joke. Oh my god. Fuck all you guys. Fuck you. Why is no one clapping? That's
I'll fucking
hilarious.
kill all of you.
Yeah. I'm gonna be a school shooter. It's like that's not fun. That's
It's not funny,
You can't say
Reese.
that. Yeah.
God damn it. All right. So that was good.
Yeah.
We're gonna end it. That was all sad but true. And have a good night, y'all.